Brad Gunley, the CEO of Ripple, has made it official that XRP will cost more than Bitcoin by implying that XRP's market value will be over $650 trillion, which is a huge amount of money. He also said that at least 196 trillion will enter the XRP ledger in 24 to 48 hours or days at a price of $669.23 per XRP. Now, this is a huge claim since the price of XRP is almost $3 right now, and the market value of Bitcoin is about $114,000, which is $2.2 trillion. So let's say you're about to hit 196 trillion, and it might all happen in a few days. All of this is happening at the same time that central banks are starting to buy XRP and use the XRP record in their payment systems. I also want to remind you that XRP is going to hit huge amounts, but we learned from Uphold that those of you watching this video can get it for free. To subscribe to the channel, all you have to do is like the movie and use your own apps. You should also use the link in the description to sign up for Uphold and make a purchase. Let me remind you once more that all of this can be done in simply 5 minutes. Through this process, you have a one-time chance to get up to $100 in free money, which you can then use to buy XRP, Bitcoin, or any other cryptocurrency, or even cash out. Now make sure you set up an upload using the link I gave you in the description of the deal. Then get your free money. Now let's go back to the movie. In other words, central banks are investing in XRP. The reason for this is the huge unlock that will allow $196 trillion to come into the XRP ledger right away within the next 24 hours. And it's backed by a huge company called RealFi. RealFi is a blockchain-based real estate and payment system that uses a huge native coin called the Real token that was built on the XRP ledger. This thing has been around for about 2 months, but it's about to start a TTS retail platform, which will let the $196 trillion private real estate market use the XRP ledger in real estate deals. This is really big. Along with the $196 trillion in private real estate, they will let people make digital real estate assets directly on the XRP ledger and let people buy real-world assets like real estate and properties using only 2 tokens, XRP and the Real token on the XRP ledger. This is very important because, look at this. This is the Real coin. It's 3% more. Take a look at this when you look at the charts here. The Real badge came out, I think, about 2 months ago. This is it. Already going through the roof. It broke its all-time high, and now it's going to break it again as it gets closer to $100. I mean, a few $100s in days. A big expert called Altcoin Bale wrote about this and said, don't miss the chance to be a part of Real token going from 3 cents to over $190 in days. You only have 24 hours to act now. In fact, this is the lowest price estimate for Real tokens that are based on the XRP ledger. Most people think the price will be between $64,000 and $65,000 each. It makes a lot of sense to say that the Real token has a maximum amount of 1 billion, but I think they've already brought in about 50 million of the 100 million that were supposed to be in phase 1. So there are only 50 million, just like XRP has 100 billion Real tokens, but only 50 million. If you take less than 1%, this is crazy. Less than 1% of the $196 trillion going into the Real token, which is a lot of money, every Real token. This means that for every $1,000 spent, you could make $1 million. That's why we say that the XRP ledger could become a source of family wealth thanks to projects like this that create useful payment tokens that will make a lot of money. It's not the big coins. These projects that are based on usefulness are adding trillions of dollars to the XRP ledger. Take a look at this. This is the Real coin. It has a low risk for up to 2 users, 100% KYC score, and a team. Banex gets 100% of all wallets. Guys, it was at 2,900 yesterday. It's now around 2,500. Clearly, we can see that as soon as people see this project, they all want to help. The project is going great. I'm really happy. Of course, I'm packing my bags because this is where families will make a lot of money for generations to come, right? You do know that the XRP ledger will be used for the global transfer of wealth and that project deals will bring the whole market onto the XRP ledger. That's good news for the projects. It will be good for you if you bought Real Ticket. It's also for XRP and the XRP system. As always, I want to make it clear that I'm not a financial advisor and that this is not financial advice. You should always do your own research. This is just my personal opinion. If you look at this, guys, you'll see that there's very low resistance like this and very strong support levels. Things get better when they're backed by a huge institution like crypto. Also, if you look here, you'll see that you can buy Real tokens on multiple exchanges, including the Magnetic Bank Exchange and the XP market. You can also use the real token purchase widget, which is huge. Again, the idea is that we're about to add a total of $650 trillion to the XP ledger. And on August 3rd, exactly 24 hours from now, 196 trillion of that will be opened on the XP ledger. This means that there will likely be a huge supply shock in the next few hours. As a matter of fact, this recording was taken only 22 to 20 hours ago, so this huge break-in will soon be history. As I showed you, I think the price of real token will keep going up all day, and the 24 hours are coming to an end all the time. Of course, there will be a lot of excitement about this, just like there is now, but it will also be about how useful it is and how many transactions will happen on the XF record and the real token right now. What I mean is that there have been huge jumps in traffic in preparation over the last few days and weeks. That means it makes sense. They've had $25 million worth of trades in XRP in less than a minute. Why is that? It all comes back to the same idea. The real token and real fly will unlock $196 trillion. That money will be used, and it's clear that XRP will hit over 10,000 in the next couple of years. But when you look at low supply, low market care projects like real token on the XPL, those can hit, 10,000, but they can also hit 60, 70, 80,000, or even $130,000. And it will happen so fast because real tokens worth $10,000 right now will likely make this price 10x. It's that scale that we're talking about because its supply is very low and it could get supply shock very quickly. If you get not $10,000, but $100,000 or $200,000 or even $1 million, that will bring it to $1,000, maybe a couple hundred, maybe 600 or close to $1,000. Then think about billions or trillions of dollars. This is the size we're talking about. From a base price of 4 cents, $70,000 per real coin is not as crazy as it sounds. As we go over a real token and come to a sort of real token, this is where I'll switch back to the X super later because I need to make some very important points. That is, I will leave all the links for real tokens in the text below. You can look at them and you can check out RealFi. I really think you should go to payrollfi.com and click on the real token link at the top of the page. The fact that support levels are so low and support levels are so high makes this really huge. This will have a big effect on the price of the real token. And again, $100,000 could make this thing happen instantly 100 times at least. But I'd like to show you this video clip. It was written by Garlinghouse and is called the XRP Ledger. It says that XRP will be a big part of the new US currency system. And basically, all the money used for US trades and US debt will go straight into the XRP ledger and into XRP. Of course, when you talk about the XRP system, you mean that the money will be put into it. Some of it will move to XRP. Something of it will change into other XRP ledger tokens, like the ones we're talking about now. Let's go to World Club for now. Yes. Glad you asked this because, I'm always amazed at how much confusion there is in the world. And people will tell me they put money into Ripples. You probably put money into XRP right now. Ripple is a lot of things that make a Silicon Valley tech company great. We got our first round of funding in 2012, followed by a Series A investment in 2014 and a Series B investment in 2016. Since the beginning, we've always had an idea of who our users would be, businesses and banks. One reason we use XRP is that we have a lot of it. XRP is a digital currency that is open source like Bitcoin or Ethereum on a huge number of markets around the world. In place of proof of work or proof of stake, it uses something called a consensus method to make sure that transactions are valid, which makes it very scalable in terms of transaction speed, transaction cost, and just growth in general. So we thought it worked well for the payments across borders. There you have it, Ripple the business. XRP is out there. The digital object in question is XRP Ledger, XRPL. And the reason we sometimes point that out is Ripple is an important part of the XRPL ecosystem and makes technologies linked to XRPL. As you might expect in an open source group, there are a lot of others as well, and we're seeing them. Other people do some really cool things that we don't always do. So I think it's important for people to understand the difference between those two situations. Certainly. A quick question. Some people may be confused. Does that bother you, or do you see it as an opportunity to teach? Is it just one of those things? Most likely all three. Depending on, it bothers me when someone I think knows or should know the difference does it. I think they're just making things more confusing. There you have it, the end of the video. This movie needs to be liked, commented on, subscribed to, and shared. Peace, and see you next time.